Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. I want to talk to you about something that we don't always see, but something that affects each of us every single day: mental strength. Now, I'm not talking about being able to lift 100 pounds or run a marathon. I'm talking about that quiet resilience, that inner fortitude, the ability to stand tall when the world is knocking you down. In a world that's faster, more complex, and more unpredictable than ever before, mental strength is no longer just a nice-to-have trait, it's a necessity. It's what will keep us moving forward when everything around us is trying to push us back. And today I want to show you why that's the case, why right now mental strength matters more than ever. Life, as we all know, is not some smooth path we walk with ease. No, life is more like a battleground, a series of obstacles, battles, and hardships that we all face in different ways. And yet, no matter who you are, where you're from, or what you've been through, one thing is for certain: you will be tested. It could be something personal, a loss you never saw coming, the crushing weight of responsibility that feels like it might break your back. It could be a setback in your career, or the feeling that the world is moving faster than you can keep up. But here's the truth: it's not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. Think about that time when life hit you hard. Maybe you lost someone you loved, or maybe your dreams came crashing down when you least expected it. Maybe it was that moment of failure, the one you're too afraid to even talk about, because you felt like you just couldn't get back up. But you did. You didn't give up. You found a way to push through. Even if you didn't know exactly how, even if every part of you was screaming to quit, you found the strength to keep going. You see, that's where mental strength comes into play. It's what keeps you going when everything else wants to pull you down. Mental strength isn't about being unaffected by pain or difficulty. It's not about pretending that things are okay when they're not. No, mental strength is about pushing forward even when the pain feels like it might swallow you whole. It's about digging deep and finding the resilience within you to carry on, to rise above, and to turn the setbacks into setups for something greater. Look at Kobe Bryant. Sure, you remember his greatness on the court. 5 NBA championships, countless records, and his legendary Mamba mentality. But what many forget or overlook is the sheer mental strength he showed in the face of immense adversity. Take that moment when he tore his Achilles tendon in the middle of a game. That injury, that tear, was so serious that for most athletes it would have been the end of their career. You could understand if he'd crumbled, if he'd walked off the court in pain and accepted that it was over. But Kobe didn't do that. He walked up to the free throw line. With tears in his eyes, knowing full well his career was on the line, he sunk 2 free throws, one of the most powerful images of resilience in sports history. That wasn't just about his physical strength. It was his mental strength, his ability to push through unbearable pain. He made the choice not to let that moment define him, but to use it to show the world what true resilience looks like. And that's what mental strength gives you. It's the ability to keep going when others would fall apart. It's not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward in spite of it. You don't just bounce back from hardship. You grow through it. You come out of it stronger, wiser, with more confidence than you ever had before. It's about holding on to that part of you that refuses to quit, no matter how hard the road gets. Now, let me be clear. Mental strength doesn't mean you don't have setbacks. It doesn't mean you never fall or get knocked down. It doesn't mean you won't experience moments where you question everything, where you feel like you've hit the wall. But mental strength gives you the courage to get back up, dust yourself off, and try again. It's the foundation of resilience, the ability to get knocked down, but always find a way to get back on your feet. Think about the toughest moments in your life. How did you get through them? It wasn't just your physical abilities, your intellect, or your external resources. It was your mindset. It was that deep-rooted mental strength, that inner voice that told you to keep going even when everything seemed like it was falling apart. You found a way and you didn't quit. That's resilience. That's the power of mental strength. But resilience doesn't just show up when things get tough. It's also the reason you keep going when things are good. It's the ability to stay focused on your goals, to stay disciplined, even when the world wants you to lose sight of what really matters. You stay in the game because you know your worth, you know your purpose, and you know that no matter the circumstances, you are capable of achieving what you set your mind to. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who've overcome incredible odds. They didn't do it because everything was handed to them. No, they did it because they dug deep. They found their mental strength and used it to fuel them through the hardest parts of their journey. They kept going when others would have given up. They pushed forward when it seemed impossible. And it wasn't about talent or luck. It was about their mental strength, the ability to rise, to stand firm, and to keep pushing through. You can't control everything that happens to you. You can't always predict the twists and turns that life will throw your way. But you can control how you respond. And the response you choose makes all the difference. Mental strength gives you the clarity to choose, to keep moving forward, to stand tall even when you feel small, and to face adversity with courage. It's about making that decision, that commitment to never quit, no matter how hard it gets. So when life tests you, and trust me, it will test you, remember this: it's not about the obstacles in front of you. It's not about how many times you fall, how many doors close in your face, or how many people tell you no. What matters is how you respond. Mental strength is what keeps you moving forward, what helps you find a way when there seems to be none. It's what makes the difference between the ones who give up and the ones who rise again. And if you choose to harness that strength, if you choose to believe in your resilience, you can weather any storm. You'll find that the storms only make you stronger, that the setbacks are just setups for something greater. Because you know deep down, no matter what life throws at you, you have the mental strength to keep moving forward, to keep pushing through, and to never give up. Fear is something we all know. It's the thing that holds you back, the voice that whispers in your ear when you step out of your comfort zone, telling you that you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. We all have our fears: fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. And in today's world, it feels like there's more to be afraid of than ever. There's the pressure to succeed, the pressure to keep up with the ever-changing pace of life, the constant comparison that comes with social media. We're bombarded with images of what we should be, who we should be, and what success should look like. The weight of those expectations can keep you up at night. It can make you feel like you're falling behind or that you're not doing enough. And that fear, it paralyzes you. But here's the thing about fear: it can either stop you or it can drive you. Fear can be the wall that keeps you stuck, or it can be the fire that pushes you to keep going. The difference comes down to one thing: your mental strength. You see, mental strength doesn't make fear disappear. It doesn't make it go away or make it less real. But what it does is give you the courage to walk through fear, to face it head on and move through it. It gives you the will to keep going, to take that next step, even when your body and mind are screaming for you to stop. You'll never be free of fear. That's the truth. Fear is a part of the human experience. It's there to protect us, to keep us cautious, but it can also hold us back if we let it. But mental strength is what gives you the ability to face fear without letting it control you. It's what allows you to keep pushing even when you're afraid. It's what separates the ones who run from fear and the ones who stand firm and walk through it. Let me tell you a story that'll stick with you. There was a young woman who was given the kind of news that can change everything, the kind of news that can make you question everything you thought you knew about life. She was diagnosed with cancer. Now, you don't have to be a doctor to know that cancer can shake you to your core. The fear that comes with it is enough to make anyone crumble. The fear of what might happen tomorrow, of what might happen next month, of how your life could change forever in an instant. Fear of the unknown. But this woman, she didn't give up. She didn't surrender to the fear. She didn't let that diagnosis define her. What she did instead was choose to fight. Every day she fought. It wasn't just about the treatments or the pills or the hospital visits. It was about her mindset. It was about the way she faced each day with the strength to not let fear be the master of her fate. She didn't have all the answers. She didn't know what the future would look like, but she kept going one day at a time. She didn't let the fear of the unknown paralyze her. She used it as fuel. Her mental strength was the key to overcoming the terror, the doubt, and the fear that might have made so many others give up. She pushed through because she understood that fear was a part of the journey, but it didn't get to dictate the outcome. That's what mental strength does. It makes you strong enough to keep going when fear tells you to stop. It doesn't remove the fear. It doesn't make the fear any less real, but it gives you the power to stand in front of it, to look it in the eye and say, I'm moving forward anyway. That's the kind of strength that doesn't let you quit, that doesn't let you be stopped by the things that scare you. Fear can paralyze you, but it can also push you forward. It's all about how you choose to respond. And that response is what mental strength is all about. Think about the times in your life when you faced fear. Maybe it was something big, like the fear of losing a loved one, or the fear of failing at something you've worked so hard for. Maybe it was the fear of stepping into a new chapter of your life, whether it was a new job, a new city, or a new relationship. You could have let fear stop you, let it keep you stuck in the same place, but you didn't. You found a way to move past it, to break through it, to keep moving forward. Why? Because of mental strength. Because you decided not to let fear control you. Now, let's not pretend it's easy. It's not easy to face fear head on. It's not easy to look fear in the eye and say, you don't own me. Because truth be told, there are times when fear is overwhelming. But hopefully, there are times when fear feels bigger than you, when it seems like it's going to consume everything. But in those moments, that's when mental strength matters most. That's when you dig deep. That's when you pull yourself up and say, I am not afraid to face this. I am not afraid to move forward. It's about choosing to act despite the fear. It's about getting back up when you fall, trying again when you fail, and standing tall when everything around you is telling you to shrink. The fear of failure might be louder than the voice inside you telling you to keep going, but you have the strength to drown it out, to turn it down, to keep moving anyway. That's the power of mental strength. I've seen it in the people I admire, people who have been through unimaginable struggles but found a way to keep pushing forward. People who faced illness, loss, or failure, but didn't let those fears stop them from living, from fighting, from winning, from fighting. That's what mental strength looks like. It's not about not feeling fear. It's about feeling it and deciding that it won't control you. It's about finding the strength to act, to move forward, to grow, even when the fear feels like it might hold you back. Fear doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning of something new, a chance for you to rise. Mental strength isn't the absence of fear. It's the will to keep moving despite it. It's knowing that fear doesn't get the last word. It's you. And every time you choose to move past that fear, you become stronger. Every time you decide not to let fear define you, you break free from the chains that it tries to wrap around you. We all have fear, but it's what we do with that fear that defines us. And if you have the mental strength to stand up to it, to face it, and to keep moving forward, there's nothing you can't overcome. Fear doesn't stand a chance against you. We live in a world that feels at times like it's spinning out of control. It's a world where things happen that we don't expect, where people let us down, and where the plans we so carefully laid out suddenly come undone. You've probably been there. You've probably had those moments when life throws you a curveball and you wonder, what am I supposed to do now? The pressure of everything that's wrong can weigh you down, make you feel like you're drowning in things that you can't fix, things that you can't change. It's easy to get lost in all of it, to get stuck in the frustration of things that are beyond your control. But here's the thing, as much as the world may feel like it's spinning out of our hands, there's always one thing we can control, ourselves. Yes, we can't control the weather, we can't control how others behave, we can't control the economy, and we certainly can't control the past. But we have control over one thing, the most powerful thing, how we respond to all of it, how we act in the face of adversity, how we treat others, and how we take care of ourselves. That is the essence of mental strength. It's so easy to get caught up in everything that's wrong, to focus on the chaos, the uncertainty. We start to spiral, thinking that if we can't fix everything, then we've lost control. But that's where we're wrong. The truth is, there's so much we can control, and mental strength is what helps us recognize it. It's about choosing where to place your energy and attention. When the world feels like it's falling apart, mental strength helps you focus on what you can do, how you can respond, and how you can move forward, even when you can't control the outcome. Think about a storm. When you're caught in the middle of it, the wind is howling, the rain is pouring, and it feels like the world is against you. But here's the thing, you don't have to wait for the storm to pass. What mental strength teaches you is to learn how to dance in the rain. It's not about waiting for the conditions to be perfect before you take action. It's about embracing what you can control no matter how bad things get. The storm might not let up, but that doesn't mean you have to be stuck in fear or paralyzed by doubt. When you have mental strength, you realize that even in the storm, you can control your attitude. You can control the choices you make in that moment, and that makes all the difference. Take a moment and think about your life. Think about the situations where things weren't going the way you planned. Maybe you faced a setback. Maybe something outside of your control threw you off course. Did you focus on what you couldn't change? Or did you shift your attention to the things you could control? Did you focus on how you responded, how you chose to take that next step, even when everything around you felt uncertain? That's the difference mental strength makes. It's not about letting life's obstacles stop you. It's about how you choose to navigate them one decision at a time. Let me take you back to one of the most powerful examples of mental strength that's ever been shown. In Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison, 27 years away from his family, from his people, from everything he knew. Stripped of his freedom, stripped of his dignity, stripped of everything that most of us take for granted. If anyone had the right to feel hopeless, it was him. If anyone had the right to give up, it was him. But Mandela didn't focus on what was out of his control. He focused on what was out of his control. He focused on what he could do. In that prison, with nothing but his mind and his will, he chose to control how he responded. He chose to control how he used his time, how he educated himself, how he forged connections with others, and how he kept his belief in the possibility of change. Even when the outside world seemed like it was collapsing, Mandela found a way to stay grounded. He realized that while he couldn't control his circumstances, he could control the power of his mind. He could control how he would stand tall, even in the face of adversity. And when he finally walked out of that prison, after nearly 3 decades, it wasn't just his body that was free, it was his mind, his spirit, and his sense of purpose that had been cultivated in those years of struggle. That's the power of mental strength, the ability to focus on what you can control and to release what you can't. It's the realization that while you can't control the storm, you can control how you ride through it. You can control your decisions, your mindset, and your actions. You can choose to rise even when everything around you tells you to stay down. I know a lot of people who've faced overwhelming circumstances, whether it's illness, financial hardship, or loss. And every single one of them has a choice to make. They can focus on what's out of their hands, the things they can't change, or they can focus on what they can control. And the difference between those who fall victim to life's challenges and those who rise above them is their ability to make that choice. Mental strength is about saying, I'm not going to waste my time and energy on the things I can't control. A defiant strength is about saying, I'm not going to waste my time and energy on the things I can't control. I'm going to focus on what I can do, on what I can give, and on what I can change. And that's what we have to remind ourselves of when we feel overwhelmed. We have the power to control how we move forward, how we respond to each situation, and how we care for ourselves through it all. That's what makes all the difference. It's about the little decisions you make every single day, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat others, the way you carry yourself even when things aren't going your way. We don't always have the power to change the circumstances, but we always have the power to change our mindset. We always have the power to choose how we respond. And mental strength gives you the clarity to focus on that power. It gives you the strength to move through life with the understanding that no matter how chaotic things seem, you can control how you handle them. You can choose to step up, take action, and do what you can with the situation in front of you. It might not be perfect, but it's yours to control, and that's where your strength lies. So, when life feels out of control, when it feels like the storm is raging and you're caught in the middle of it, remember this. You may not control the weather, but you control the steps you take, the attitude you hold, and the actions you make. In today's world, it's so easy to get distracted. Everywhere you turn, there's something pulling your attention away. Social media, other people's opinions, the constant noise of expectations and pressures from the outside world. It's easy to get lost in the chaos, to drift from one thing to the next without ever really focusing on what matters most to you. But here's the truth. If you want to build mental strength, if you want to rise above the distractions and stay grounded in who you are and where you're going, then you need 2 things, discipline and purpose. You can't have one without the other. You cannot have mental strength without discipline. And you certainly cannot have it without purpose. We live in a world full of distractions. It's like a constant barrage of noise, trying to pull us in different directions, trying to get us to chase after things that don't align with who we really are. And when you're constantly distracted, it's hard to stay focused. It's hard to stay committed to anything. But discipline is what gives you the ability to block out that noise to stay on track, and to keep your eyes on the prize, even when the world is pulling you in 1,000 different directions. Think about the athletes you admire, the ones who push themselves day in and day out through the sweat, the pain, and the sacrifices. They don't get to the top by accident. It's not about just showing up when it's easy. It's about showing up when it's hard, when no one is watching, when every part of you is telling you to quit. That's discipline. And it's that discipline that builds mental strength. Because discipline is what keeps you moving forward even when it feels like you're not making progress. It's what makes you stay consistent even when the results aren't immediate. It's about sticking to the plan even when it's hard, even when it doesn't feel like it's worth it, and knowing that every step you take is leading you toward your goal. But here's the thing, discipline alone isn't enough. If you don't know why you're doing it, if you don't have a purpose driving you, then all the discipline in the world won't keep you going. Purpose gives you the focus you need to push through the difficult moments. It's the reason behind the work. Without purpose, the sacrifices, the struggles, the hardships, they can all feel pointless. Purpose is the fuel that keeps you going when the fire is starting to fade. It's what reminds you that there's something greater at the end of the road, something worth fighting for. Think about business leaders, the ones who wake up every day with a sense of direction. They've got a purpose. They know what they're working for. And that purpose drives them to get out of bed, to make decisions, and to take action. They may face setbacks, they may face rejection, but they don't give up because they know why they're doing it. They know that the work, the sacrifice, and the effort are all leading to something bigger than themselves. That's what mental strength looks like. It's the ability to keep moving forward because you have a purpose that won't let you quit. Or think about parents. Parents who wake up every single day, regardless of how tired they are, regardless of how much they've been through, because their children need them. That's purpose. That's a reason that's bigger than yourself. That's what gives you the mental strength to push through fatigue, to push through the doubts, and to show up when you feel like you have nothing left to give. Purpose is what helps you rise above the noise, rise above the distractions, and focus on what really matters. And when we talk about mental strength, we can't ignore the power of purpose in our own lives. If you're going to build mental strength, you need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. What is your reason? What is your driving force? What gets you up in the morning even when the day ahead feels heavy, even when the challenges seem overwhelming? You need to know your purpose, and that purpose will give you the discipline to keep going no matter what. I'm sure you've all heard about Thomas Edison, the man who changed the world with the invention of the light bulb. But what most people don't realize is that Edison failed thousands of times before he succeeded. He wasn't an overnight success. In fact, he was told that he was wasting his time, that he was chasing after something that wasn't going to work. But Edison knew his purpose. He knew what he was working toward. He had a vision that kept him going when the failures piled up, when the critics laughed, when the obstacles seemed insurmountable. He didn't let the setbacks stop him. Why? Because he had purpose. And that purpose gave him the discipline to get up every single day and try again. The mental strength to keep going despite failure, despite the odds, comes from knowing that your purpose is bigger than any obstacle you face. Edison didn't give up because he wasn't just chasing success. He was chasing a dream that would change the world. That's the kind of purpose that fuels mental strength. It's the kind of purpose that keeps you going when you don't feel like it, when you're tired, when you're facing failure. It's what makes you wake up each morning and put in the work, even when you don't see the immediate payoff. Now, we all have our own struggles. We all have our own challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But the question is, what are you going to do with them? Are you going to let them define you? Or are you going to use them to strengthen your resolve, to fuel your purpose, and to stay disciplined in the face of adversity? Because that's what mental strength is all about. It's about knowing that the road won't always be easy. It's about knowing that you'll face struggles and setbacks. But it's also about knowing that you have the discipline to keep going and the purpose to give that effort meaning. If you're going to build mental strength, you have to ask yourself, what is your purpose? What drives you? Because that's the thing that will keep you going when the distractions try to pull you away, when the obstacles seem impossible, when the road ahead looks long and uncertain. When you have purpose, you know why you're doing what you're doing, and that gives you the discipline to keep putting one foot in front of the other, no matter how hard it gets. So take a moment and think about your purpose. What's driving you? What are you working for? And once you know that, make a commitment to stay disciplined. Make a commitment to keep working, to keep pushing, and to stay focused, because that's what will build your mental strength. Discipline and purpose, they go hand in hand, and they'll carry you through even the toughest times. Here's the truth, and it's a truth that might sting for a moment, but will set you free once you truly understand it. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's not some trait that only a select few possess. It's not some gift that's reserved for the chosen ones. Mental strength is a choice. That's right, a choice. Every single day, you have the power to decide whether or not you're going to be mentally strong. You have the power to decide how you respond when life hits you with its hardest blows. You get to decide how you handle the challenges that come your way. And that, my friends, is where the real power lies. The choice is yours. You might be thinking, but it's so hard, life is tough. It feels like I'm being hit from every direction. And I get it. Life isn't always easy. It's not always fair. Sometimes it feels like the world is against you, like every step you take is met with resistance. But here's the thing, those hard days, those tough moments, those setbacks, they're not the end. They're not the final word. They're not the point where you have to throw in the towel and give up. No, those hard moments are where mental strength is built. You see, mental strength is like a muscle, and just like any muscle, it gets stronger the more you work it. You want to get stronger? You've got to lift the weight. You've got to push yourself. You've got to keep going when it feels like you can't. Every challenge, every obstacle, every difficulty, it's an opportunity to strengthen that muscle. It's a chance for you to make the choice to keep going, to rise above, and to show yourself just how strong you really are. Think about it. When life knocks you down, you have two choices. You can stay down. You can let the hurt, the disappointment, the frustration, or the failure define you. You can let the pain make you feel like you're not enough, like you'll never make it. Or you can choose to rise. You can choose to get back up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. It's all a choice. And that's the thing about mental strength. It's not something that happens to you. It's something you actively choose every day. You don't have to be a superhero. You don't have to have some extraordinary talent or be born into extraordinary circumstances. You don't need to have the best job, the best body, or the most money. All you need is the willingness to choose mental strength. All you need is the determination to keep going even when it's hard. Destroying yourself to suffer is not the solution to keep yourself going. All you need is the mindset that says, I'm not going to let this defeat me. I'm going to rise and I'm going to keep going. Now, let's be clear about something. This doesn't mean you won't have moments when you feel like you've had enough. This doesn't mean you won't have days where everything feels too heavy, too overwhelming. It doesn't mean you won't face doubts, fears, or uncertainty. It doesn't mean you'll never feel like giving up. But here's where the power comes in. Even in those moments, you still have a choice. You can choose to stay down or you can choose to rise. You can choose to surrender to the pain or you can choose to face it, learn from it, and push through it. Every time you choose to rise again, even when it feels impossible, you are building that mental muscle. You are proving to yourself that you are stronger than the circumstances that try to hold you back. You are showing yourself that you have the power to shape your own story, no matter what the world throws at you. Take a moment and think about some of the most mentally strong people you know, or even some of the greatest stories in history. What do they have in common? They faced challenges, they faced setbacks, they faced failure, but they didn't let those things define them. They made a choice to keep going. They made a choice to press on even when the odds were stacked against them. They made the choice to rise again. It's not always easy, but what I can tell you is that every time you make the choice to rise, every time you choose to press on, you build a little more mental strength. You get a little bit stronger. And before you know it, the things that used to knock you down don't have the same power over you anymore. They don't have the same grip on your heart, your mind, or your spirit. Because you've made the choice over and over again to stand tall. Let's talk about a real life example. There's a story that you've probably heard about Oprah Winfrey. You might know her as the media mogul and philanthropist, but you may not know that she faced countless setbacks early in her career. She was told she was too emotionally involved to be a good anchor. She faced rejection after rejection. She was laughed at, criticized, and told she would never make it. But Oprah didn't let that stop her. She made the choice to keep going, even when it felt like the whole world was telling her to quit. She made the choice to rise, to keep moving forward, and to never give up on her dream. And now, look where she is. That's the power of choice. That's the power of mental strength. I'm sure you've had moments in your life where things haven't gone the way you planned. Maybe it was a job you didn't get, or a relationship that ended, or a dream that seemed out of reach. And maybe in that moment, you felt like the world was crumbling around you. But I want you to remember something. Just because things don't go the way you expect doesn't mean you have to quit. It doesn't mean you have to give up. You can choose to rise. You can choose to get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. And when you make that choice, when you decide to press on, that's when you build the mental strength that will carry you through whatever comes next. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. You have the power to decide. You have the power to choose how you respond, how you move forward, and how you shape your life. You are in control. Mental strength isn't something that's given to you. It's something you choose. You choose it every day. And with each choice, you get a little stronger, a little more resilient, and a little more unstoppable. So remember, the next time life knocks you down, the next time you face a challenge that feels too big to overcome, the choice is still yours. You can choose to stay down, or you can choose to rise. You can choose to give up, or you can choose to press on. Every moment is an opportunity to build that mental muscle, and with every choice, you're getting stronger. The power is in your hands. So why does mental strength matter more than ever? I'll tell you why. It matters because the world we live in today is full of challenges, and it's not slowing down. Life is going to push you. It's going to test you. It will knock you down at some point. You're going to face obstacles, frustrations, pain, and heartache that feel like they might swallow you whole. But here's the thing. In every one of those moments, you also have the chance to rise. You have the chance to show up and prove to yourself that no matter what life throws your way, it can't take away your will to keep moving forward. And that, my friends, is the power of mental strength. Every single one of us is going to experience hardship. It's inevitable. We can't avoid it no matter how hard we try. Life will push you, it will stretch you, and it will challenge you in ways you didn't see coming. But it's in those moments when you're being tested the most, that you find out just what you're made of. You find out if you have the strength to stand up, dust yourself off, and keep going. And let me tell you, when you have mental strength, when you have the discipline to keep pushing, when you have the resilience to face whatever comes your way, there's nothing that can stop you. Nothing. But you see, we're not talking about some kind of perfection here. We're not talking about the idea that you have to get everything right. Mental strength isn't about always being on top. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about persistence. It's about getting knocked down and getting back up. It's about looking at your situation, no matter how difficult it might be, and choosing to rise. That's what mental strength is all about. It's about knowing that you're going to face challenges, but understanding that those challenges don't define you unless you let them. And here's the truth. Persistence is the key. It's not about being perfect. It's not about getting it right every single time. It's about the ability to keep moving, to keep pushing forward, even when you don't feel like it, even when it hurts. Because every time you rise, every time you push through, every time you make the choice to keep going, you build more of that mental strength. And that's what makes all the difference. Think about all the stories. Think about the stories of athletes, of entrepreneurs, of people who faced unimaginable hardships and come out on the other side. They didn't get there because they never faced a challenge. They got there because they kept going when everything around them was telling them to stop. They got there because they had the mental strength to face adversity, to stay disciplined, to rise up again and again, no matter how many times life tried to knock them down. Maybe it's a single mother working 2 jobs, fighting for a better life for her children. Maybe it's a student struggling to make ends meet, determined to finish their degree no matter the obstacles. Maybe it's an athlete who's faced injury after injury, but refuses to let that define their career. These people, they're not perfect, they're not invincible, but they have one thing that sets them apart. They don't quit. They choose to rise. Mental strength is more than what they are done. It's only time. I had a lot of victories, not to require a lot of them. Mental strength in the conference. Experience. It's more about, because those moments, those small moments when you could have given up, when you could have walked away, those are the moments that build your mental strength. It's the daily commitment to persistence. It's the belief that no matter how difficult the journey, you're going to see it through. So the next time life throws a challenge at you, the next time you're faced with fear, the next time you're tempted to quit, I want you to remember this. Mental strength isn't about being perfect. It's not about never failing, never faltering, never stumbling. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up every day, even when it feels like the world is against you. It's about choosing to rise, choosing to face the challenges head on, choosing to keep going when everything else seems to be pushing you to stop. That's where the real power lies. In those moments when you could give in, when you could throw in the towel, but you choose not to. That's when you prove to yourself just how strong you really are. That's when you build the kind of mental strength that can take you through anything life throws your way. And that's the difference maker. So remember, no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you stumble, you can always choose to rise. You can always choose to press on. You can always choose to build your mental strength, one decision at a time. Because it's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. And that persistence, that's what will get you through. That's what will carry you to the other side. So keep going, stay disciplined, stay resilient, and know that nothing can stop you when you have mental strength on your side. Thank you.